So, I think we are finally ready. We will start in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody.
No,
Welcome back.
You still do that. It's been 6 months and you still do that,
Of course I still. You didn't even let me finish. Welcome back. First time in a long time.
Guys, welcome back to another episode of Team Sessa Talks. It has been, 6 months since we've done this?
It's been a little while.
Yeah, 6 months since we've done this, but...
just before the lockdown we stopped.
Yeah, that's right. But we're back now, and there's a lot of people, a lot of new people that joined us during this lockdown.
Yes.
Because we did stop this, but we switched to a format where we were putting out weekly videos.
Our monthly market report.
You can't call it monthly now, can you?
No, I was going to say, our
okay.
monthly market report. You got to let me finish my sentence here, buddy.
Sorry. I'm just excited. We haven't done this in a while.
My wife, your mother does that. You got to let me finish, right? So the monthly report, we switched to weekly, and we're doing an in-depth weekly market report. If you're not watching that, you should be. There's a lot of data there.
Yeah.
But the podcast that we're doing is different here. This is a different feel, a different attitude.
Yeah, exactly. That's more analytical, and this is more kind of relaxed, and we don't get into as much detail as we do in those reports. I shouldn't say we. You don't get into as much detail as you do in those reports, and you wear your glasses in these things.
Well, I read more. It's different. When I'm reading, I need my glasses. When I take them off, wait a minute, where am I? Let me put it back. Oh, I'm back at the podcast. You see. My other set of eyeballs.
Well, yes. So we wanted to say thank you all for joining us. And there's a bunch, like I said, there's a bunch of new people that joined us because they found us through the market report. So if you didn't know, we do these podcasts, and we had been doing them last year.
Them weekly.
Last year and the beginning of this year. If you want to go back and check...
This year was season 2. We got seasons now.
If you want to go back and check those out, they are still all up there, and there's a bunch of really great resources.
We've got some good shows there.
Yeah, we do.
We had a home inspector. We had Massimo Bruno with from the restaurant, from the supper club. So we had home inspector.
We
did
an
episode
inspector twice.
Did I? We had Rocky with Mortgage Savvy.
We have a lot of resources that you should go check out if you're watching.
We did an episode on cigars.
We did.
I was excited. I wanted to cut you off there.
That was a great one. But so we have a lot of resources. If you're watching this on YouTube, then you can go back. You can check all the videos. There's an actual playlist for our podcast where you'll see a bunch more of these videos. And yeah, we have these on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts.
You could listen anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Just about anywhere.
Or you could watch it on YouTube.
Exactly, if you want to see our faces. But
see my cool haircut.
Yeah, and I don't know how many, because now people got to see you every week, and they're going to see you twice. So I don't know. But anyways,
they're the lucky ones.
We're back now, and we're excited because we got a few episodes planned that are going to be that we
awesome.
think you'll find very informative. And this one, we're going to be talking about. The last episode we did was about, the lockdown and the health crisis that's been going on.
And we're still in a health crisis.
But that was the start of the health crisis,
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to say we're at the end. What is it?
The health crisis?
Second wave or something. But,
no, we are still very much in a health crisis.
But anyways, we are well into it now. At this point, right?
And we have some history behind us now when it comes to real estate, the market, attitudes, perception,
exactly.
All these things, and we've got some things to talk about as far as where we thought we were going to be, what people still believe where we are, and in reality.
Well, that's the thing.
Where we actually are.
If you asked me at the beginning of this, if you asked me when we filmed our last episode of this, what was going to happen?
Everybody's biting their nails like, oh no.
And Dad, I'm telling you, the past few months have been some of the most confusing months for me. Just watching your market reports, filming them and watching them, and seeing the information and seeing what's actually going on has been incredible. Definitely something that I don't think anyone expected.
Danny, I put the numbers together, and I double checking them and triple checked them, because I'm sometimes thinking, no, this couldn't have happened the way it happened. And am I getting these numbers right?
Yeah.
Did this actually really happen? And then we produced the numbers. We put them out on YouTube for the masses to see. And there's still people that don't believe us.
But these keep in mind, my dad doesn't make these numbers up. Okay, these are stats from Treb.
From the Toronto Real Estate Board, what's actually reported.
Yeah.
They're not predictions.
Yeah.
I'm not saying next month. I'm saying previous month or previous week. This is what actually happened. And people still don't believe the numbers.
Well, I gotta say, it's hard to believe, so I don't completely blame them. But yeah, so let's talk about it now that we do have some history behind us. What's happening, Pa?
Well, let's talk about perception, because often, in a lot of cases, perception is reality. So when the leader of the United States says you should drink Ajax and you are cured of the virus, lots of people believe it because they believe it to be true, and they do it. There's no science behind it, but it's perception, public perception. So when people are locked at home and they run their ordinary lives and they kind of hear what's going on or see what's going on, if they see it, they tend to believe it.
Yeah.
And people are negative in general. I'm sorry to say that, but people are negative in general.
Except for you.
Except for me. Thank you. But that's why all the headlines, the news, and their headlines are always the most negative headline. And most people just read the headlines, and that's their perception of reality. So what they perceive is reality to them. It might not be the real reality, what's actually happening. And generally speaking, real estate wise, in all sectors, people have the attitude that things are bad.
Yeah.
That's how they feel. And I spend a lot of my time during the day. I receive phone calls. Should I buy? Should I sell? It's bad now. When do you think it'll turn around that I can do? This is what they're telling me.
Yeah.
And I spend the first 15, 20 minutes actually talking to them about the reality of things, that it's not what they're thinking. And so perception is if you're at work and you're around a water cooler, or you're not at work actually. You're working from home now and you're on a Zoom call and you're just kind of having chats. Things are pretty bad out there.
Yeah.
Unless you're in it. And what I mean, you're looking to buy, you're looking to sell. And then at first, you're going to be very surprised.
Yeah.
And then you're going to really know, but you got to be in it. Most people are not in it. They're looking from the sidelines. It's not like the majority of people are buying and selling. So people think things are bad, but reality is different.
So that's one of the things, because you mentioned how, I think the big effect that this has had on a lot of people mostly has been employment, right? And so people are no longer at work. A lot of people are working from home. A lot of people, unfortunately, did lose their jobs, stuff like that. But there are still people buying, right? So like, how is that? Why are there still people buying?
Why are there still people buying?
Like, I understand certain cases you have to, but like, there's still a lot of sales going on. There's still, I thought it was going to completely come to a standstill for months. And that's not what happened, right? Well,
for years, people have been talking about the crash. Nobody would have predicted because of a virus.
Yeah.
They're just talking about prices are too high. There's going to be a correction for years. It hasn't happened yet. The only time we've had any kind of sort of a correction is through man-made. We'll call the virus man-made. It's not an economic issue, but it's affected economies. And back in April of 2017, when 2018, where we had the government interventions there.
Oh, that was 2017.
Yeah, we had the government interventions. I remember it was in April.
Yeah.
And that was also public perception. It really wasn't what they implemented as far as the foreign tax and different things. It really wasn't such a big deal, the actual numbers, but the public felt it was a big deal, and things slowed down within 2 weeks. Everything kind of slowed down. So, but on its own, things are pretty good. Let's just talk about sales. If I told you we, as of this morning's date, because I checked before we started the podcast, for residential sales, all sales, condos, houses, semis, like all residential sales, traded on the Toronto Real Estate Board. This year, as of now, we've actually done about 3,000 more sales this year than we did last year.
See, like, that's so hard to believe.
And we had basically 2 months of like virtual, like way low. Like April was completely dead. Half of March was, we're in lockdown. Half of March, April, we're in lockdown. Kind of the middle of May, we started to, ease up a little bit. But we've basically had a few months of activity down to like incredible low numbers.
And last year was a regular year, right?
Last year was a regular year, we'll call it. We had
all
4 seasons.
Yeah, everything was
no
normal.
government intervention. No reason to be home locked down.
So why do you think that now we're all of a sudden having, with missing 2 months out of the 9 months that we're in right now? So why do you think we're having so much demand now? Why is that?
Well, the demand has always been there. Partly of what's fueling demand are interest rates. You can get a fixed rate now, a 5-year fixed for like 1.6, 1.7%.
Is that the lowest it's ever been? I haven't been around.
You know what? We're going to have our mortgage we're going to have Raki Dinger on here, our mortgage broker for Mortgage Savvy. She's going to get into the fine details, but is it the lowest it's ever been?
Sounds like it.
As far as I could remember, but she will tell us for sure. But it's pretty low, and variables are even lower.
Lower than that?
The variable rate is slightly lower than that.
Oh my God.
So that's fueling a lot of people to jump into the market for the first time. That's fueling a lot of move-up buyers. That's fueling a lot of, in a situation we're in as far as more and more people working from home.
Yeah.
And the lockdown, like you figured people are in lockdown. Where's the economy going? Well, it's pretty bad. There's a lot of businesses that have already shut down, and there's others kind of holding on by their fingernails and just trying to hold on that are not going to survive over the next 12 months.
Yeah.
So there is some economic uncertainty out there. But the way I've seen people do things, and the way it's, you figured, well, if there's some economic uncertainty in the future, maybe we should stay put. Maybe we should downsize. Maybe we should save more. It's not necessarily how the people, like ground level people think. If they think one of them is maybe going to get laid off, some of them are actually looking to, this sounds crazy, but jump into a mortgage now before it happens so they can get into that condo, or they can get into that house, or they could be the first time. If they don't do it now, they might not get the chance later.
Wow.
And then they'll deal with their situation later. I know it sounds crazy.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
But we've seen that,
Yeah.
right? We've seen people that there's some economic uncertainty, but they're moving up to a bigger house because with the lower rate, they can afford a bigger house now for the same money.
Yeah.
Now, they could stay put. They could break their mortgage, pay the penalty, and lock in at the lower rate and still be overall much better in doing that because the lower rate is so low. But no, they're not choosing to save money monthly. A lot of them are choosing to go to the bigger mortgage, to the bigger house, and their monthly payments are the same because the rate's lower. So that's just, there's all sorts of reasons.
Yeah.
People are moving now because a lot of them, especially, GTA, Toronto, is the big gorilla here. That's where most of the jobs are. That's where most of the money is. That's a lot of people, when they come out of universities, the professionals, they are looking for work, and it's downtown.
Yeah.
So they can't afford a car house, rent. They like can't afford everything.
Mm-hmm.
So they figured if I live downtown, I don't need a car and I could be close to work. And
Yeah.
they can't afford much. So whether it's rental or whether it's to buy, it's small.
Mm-hmm.
They're buying a small place. And then maybe they get a girlfriend, or maybe they get married, or maybe they, so now there's two people in a small place.
Yeah.
All of a sudden in this lockdown, a place that they didn't spend much time in, some of these barely even have a kitchen.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden we had a lockdown. They're realizing, wow, this place is small. We need a bigger place. And then work at the same time says, hey, we thought working from home for our employees was a bad thing. It's actually turning out pretty good because they were forced to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're telling people, you know what? They're telling their employees, staying at home is probably something we're going to do for a while now.
Yeah.
And it might be indefinite, and it's working out well. And the employer sees it as a good thing because they also don't have to rent 10,000, 20,000 square feet.
Yeah.
They don't have to buy a whole floor. They can save a ton of money on that and keep people working from home. So now these people in these small condos are thinking, why do we need to live downtown?
Yeah.
We can go out, get a bigger place. We can maybe move into something with a yard. And you're finding that this is happening quite a bit. People moving around, taking advantage of the lower rates. And demand is still strong.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, if we talk about months of inventory for Toronto, this is the city of Toronto for freehold properties. Months of inventory is 1.5 months. Now, months of inventory is one of the best tools we have to measure supply and demand.
Yeah.
If we have between 4 to 6 months of inventory, that's a balanced market. We're at 1.5 months. It's very much a seller's market, and this is why prices are going up. And for freehold properties in Toronto, if we just kind of take a loose average, we're up 15% from last year's prices, generally speaking. Condos, I know people think that condos is, there's a lot of condos on the market.
Yeah.
But prices so far have been maintained at about 9 to 10% higher than what they were last year. Months of inventory, however, is 4 months of inventory. Mm-hmm. So condos are kind of in the just approaching the balanced market.
Yeah.
I expect prices to condos to come down a bit. That's just because of the high volumes of listings going out there.
I guess prices of condos to come down sooner than prices of freehold.
Well, I don't know if prices of freehold are coming down. I'm not comfortable saying that. I'm not comfortable saying those prices are coming down.
But yeah, I mean,
in general, I'm talking about. There's pockets that are affected different, but in general, as a whole, freehold properties are strong. They were trending down, still much higher than they were last year. Mm-hmm. And the fall market is typically kind of like our second spring, so we'll see what happens in the next little while.
Yeah.
Plus, there's so many uncertainties, where they're talking about a second wave. Well, what does that mean? And we are much better off in handling things now than we were the first time going through this. Like,
sure. What
does all this mean? We don't know.
Well, I guess that answers my question about why are people buying now. It sounds like there's a lot of reasons to buy now.
There's a lot of reasons to buy,
mm-hmm.
and public attitude is if they want to buy and they could lock in the low rate, why not? If they have an opportunity to get out of their small place because they don't need it anymore to get into something bigger, why not?
Yeah, that's true. So now, discussing this whole idea of public perception, why is the public perception the way it is for real estate? Everywhere
you turn, well, first of all, it goes to logic. Prices being the way they are,
mm-hmm.
and the amount of activity and volume we're having in real estate kind of goes against logic.
Yes.
We can analyze it. We can analyze it with supply and demand. And really that's what it boils down to, supply and demand. Even though maybe through April, when we were told to stay home, was the first full month of staying home, sales were way down, but prices were still up.
Yeah.
So even though sales were way down, the volume of homes being sold the amount of people still looking to buy was more than what was available. So prices were still strong. So it boils down to supply and demand. But there's reports everywhere, especially a few months ago in April and May, how just terrible everything was going to be. Like, those reports were everywhere.
Yeah.
CMHC, I think you have the report that you're going to pull up now. Confusing myself. CMHC, who a lot of people feel is the authority in all things real estate, the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation. They announced in May of this year, May of 2020, that home prices across Canada in general were going to fall between 9 to 18%. This is the authority. They said within the next 12 months, home prices are going to drop 9 to 18%. That's crazy.
Yeah.
The hairs on the, I know it's hard to see, but I do have hairs on the back of my neck. The hairs, both of them. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up when I go, are you guys crazy? What's going on here? What are you saying? Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. But that's what they announced. And then we went on to have some of our best months ever, and we've actually surpassed sales for last year.
Which is insane in
Which
itself.
is insane on its own. So they recently updated their report, and they doubled down. In September, just very recently, September, they came out with their updated report. They're still saying prices are going to drop between 9 to 18%. They're just not saying when.
Oh, okay.
So before they said within the next 12 months, oh my God, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So now they're still saying that, but they're not saying when.
Yeah.
And I have a hard time understanding this also, but these are the headlines people see. If you just Google market crash, you just Google GTA home prices crash, throw the word crash in
Well,
there.
and I guess having conversations with people that aren't in the market right now, you'll get that sentiment that, everything's...
Well, when you talk to the really smart people, the economists, the people with degrees left, right, and center, and they look at the numbers, things kind of point to, hey, things are going to get bad.
Yeah.
But the reality is different. Reality is things are actually pretty good real estate-wise.
Yeah.
Prices are stronger than what they were before real estate-wise. Activity is up from where it was before. Again, different market segments are operating differently, but I'm speaking in general terms.
Yeah.
And when we look at, we have on the board here, this is just a summary of
See if I can zoom in.
CMHC's latest report.
Oh, look at that.
Well, they break it down in different segments. So they analyze overheating, price acceleration, overvaluation, overbuilding, and an overall assessment. And any box, they've got 3 different colors. They keep it really simple. So there's levels of vulnerability. So green is low, yellow is moderate, red is high. So you don't want to see red because that's bad.
Yes.
There's only, of all Canada, there's only 2 red boxes there.
And those were for February too, actually. And that's Regina and Victoria.
Yeah, so September, there's no red boxes where there's a high level of vulnerability.
Yeah.
Overpricing is moderate or low. If we look at Toronto,
So how does this make sense? Because they got overheating green. Well, we're talking about the month from as of September, right?
right.
So overheating's green for Toronto is green.
So what they're saying
Price
is,
acceleration is green. Overvaluation is green. Overbuilding is green. But the overall assessment is yellow.
buddy, I can't tell you. I wish I could, but
last time I checked, that's not how you do averages.
it doesn't seem so bad, though, does it?
It doesn't. No.
Yet they're saying sometime, somewhere in a far, far away land, our prices are going to come down 9 to 18%.
Okay, and I just want to clarify for people listening, because there's a lot of people listening that I'm sure will automatically kind of reject what we're saying. We're not saying, or I should say, you're not saying that prices are going to plummet or prices are going to stay as high as they are, right? We're not saying that we're not trying to predict that this is going to stay like this forever, right?
I don't know what they're going to do, Danny.
But
I'd love to be the guru that stands on the box on the corner and tells you exactly what's going to happen.
I just for the record, like, do you believe that prices right now are like, we might not see a crash of 9 to 18%, because I think that just sounds a little crazy, but like, there's going to be a correction sometime.
Why?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
You're saying it because through history, at some point, prices have always come down.
Yes.
Well, they have. Prices, if we look, pre-lockdown to now, in some segments, prices have come down. They haven't crashed. They haven't plummeted. And maybe that's the correction, and now they're going the other way.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll keep going down a little bit till the end of the year. Next spring is going to be really, really interesting to find out where we at. Do we have a vaccine? Is all this going to be behind us?
Yeah.
Is it going to take 2 more years for this to be behind us? Yet, supply and demand. What's the Bank of Canada going to do with their rates?
Yeah.
People are saying, really smart people saying, they're not changing their rates for the next 2 years. I don't know. Trudeau just did the throne speech. They're extending help to people. They're extending employee wages. They're doing so many things to help. How's this going to affect us? We don't know. A lot of really smart people are telling you how it's going to affect us.
Yeah.
But the truth is, we don't know. And reality sometimes defies logic.
Yeah.
If people want to get into the bigger house and they're able to do it, a lot of them are doing it.
Yeah.
Don't call me and say I'm crazy for saying that. I'm telling you what is actually happening with the numbers.
Yeah.
We have sold more than last year. Prices are higher than last year in general.
So let's talk about that.
We're talking about buying and selling, because different market segments are acting differently.
So like I was going to say, let's segue now into, so we talked about the perception of how things are and how people kind of assume real estate is going right now, but let's talk about the actual reality. And you gave out some numbers about, sales being higher this year than they were last year, which I found completely crazy. But
I'm talking about buying and selling in the rental market.
Wait, rental market?
Sorry, buying and selling in the residential market.
Residential, okay, yeah.
So sales are higher by about 3,000 properties this year than they are last year.
That's insane.
Yes. The prices, freehold prices across Toronto are about 15% higher. And condo prices, now I say percentage, I'm comparing to last year's price around the same time. Condo prices are 9 to 10% higher. Let's talk about the rental market. Rental market is a different animal altogether.
Okay.
Lots of people are, so let's, the framework of condo apartments. And we're talking about the rental market. The majority that we're talking about is condo apartments for rent. Many, a high percentage, maybe as much as half, are actually investment condos. People are buying them as investments.
Yeah.
So they get put out onto the rental market. The Airbnb business shot down. The student rental business is finished this year, right now, not forever, just at the moment.
Yeah.
Universities are all doing online teaching. So students that were coming from outside of the area don't need to. They could stay home. Why should they come down and pay rent just to, to learn online? They could do that from home.
Yeah.
Immigration, right down. It's still happening, but right down. And where do most of the immigrants go? To where they feel the biggest jobs are, which is Toronto. So that's right down. And a lot of these rental properties are not cash flow positive, meaning after they collect the rent, then they pay They got to pay their mortgage. They got to pay the maintenance fees, the owner of
Yeah.
the unit. They still got to put in money to make it all work out. They got to put money out of their pocket. The rent doesn't cover all the expenses.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of condos being flooded onto the market. Well, the rentals, the volume of rentals is down by about 25%.
Wow.
The amount of condos being rented
Yeah,
out.
that's a lot.
Right. Listings are up 40%. So less
Wow.
people are renting, but the volume of units available is way up by 40%. So a one-bedroom rental is now $2,083 a month. A one-bedroom, the average rental price.
Okay.
That's down by $109 a month. That's a 5% drop. And the average two-bedroom rental is $2,700. That's down $160. That's 5.6%. So on 5 to 5.6% rental prices are down. So if you're already not cash flow positive,
Yeah.
you're
That's tough.
It's even worse now for you. There's a good chance you might want to sell. And if you own it and the space is too tight because now both you and your wife say are working from home, you need more space. So you're going to sell. So we're seeing a volume of properties come on the
Large
market,
volume, yeah.
condos and rentals. There's that whole Airbnb business and this short-term rental. They're going on full-time rental, and there's not enough people renting them because immigration is down and schools are down, students. So there's a lot more properties for rent. Now,
Wow.
immigration is down right now 60%.
Holy.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Immigration is a big part of our housing economy. But let me tell you something. Rental shortage, they predict. There's a federation of rental housing providers. There's a group that monitors all this. They're predicting, based on when immigration is going to reopen, they're predicting when the border reopens, we're going to have a shortage of about 20,000 units a month. 20,000 units a year for the next 10 years.
Really?
Yeah. So that's a light of hope for those of you that own rental apartments as investments.
If you can't hold on to it,
If you
then-
can't hold on to it, that's another story. But if
Yeah.
you can hold on to it in any of these market segments, if you're having a tough time, eventually it's going to turn around. It's
Yeah.
just, can you survive? Can cash flow? Are you okay with cash flow throughout the
Yeah,
bad
wow.
times? So there will be a shortage again. It will turn around again. So imagine borders opening, immigration coming back, students coming back.
Yeah.
It's whatever rental properties are out there are going to be gobbled up.
Yeah.
Is that in 6 months? Is that in a year and a half from now?
Who knows?
Who knows, right?
Yeah.
Who knows? Now, have you been driving downtown at all?
Oh, it's sad. It's sad to see what's happening. You know, I actually took a drive the other day. You drive down Queen Street, right around Queen and Bathurst, and you just see all these commercial retail units just boarded up, and some big names too there.
Hardware stores are doing good
Some
with the plywood,
big
right?
oh yeah, that's true.
Some
of the
companies have done well through all this.
big names though have closed down, and that's something I was excited to talk about today, because we do residential every
Yeah.
week,
Yeah.
but this is affecting the commercial real estate side too.
Okay. So, quick summary: residential in general is up.
Yeah,
Residential
rental.
in general is down. Commercial. Let's talk about commercial leasing, commercial rental. Okay. The volume of, and it goes by square footage. How many square footage of units were rented this week or this year or this month versus last year?
Okay.
So if we're comparing quarter two this year to quarter two last year, leasing volume is down 37%.
Wow.
Okay, but keep
Kinda-
in mind,
kinda makes
part of
sense.
that was through our lockdown.
Yeah.
So, keep in mind that. And sales were down 61%. So people buying commercial units was down 61%. And again, keep in mind, this is for quarter two, year over year. And a big chunk of that, we were in lockdown.
Oh wait, do I have something I can show for that?
You do, I believe.
I think I do. There we go.
There we go. Okay, so
61% sales.
sales are down 61%, and leasing volume, square footage, is down 37%.
Okay.
That's in general for industrial, commercial, retail, and office together. Let's talk about lease rates. Okay, what does it cost per square foot? And if we're comparing quarter two this year to quarter two last year, for industrial, the rate per square foot has actually gone up 16%. For commercial retail, the cost to rent commercial retail space has gone up 3.9%. And the cost to rent an office space, to lease an office space, is 8.9%. So sales are way down. But just like in residential, prices are up.
How does that make sense?
It's supply and demand. And I know you're thinking that, well, there's so much less supply available, or sales, we're doing such less volume, but there's still people that want these units.
Yeah.
Now, how will that change? This is quarter two, June. So, July, August, quarter three, we don't have the numbers yet.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens. But that's where it is now. Now, sales price. This is the average price per square foot. For industrial, is up 13.8%. Commercial retail is up 13.8%. And office, you want to buy office space, it's going to cost you on average per square foot 25.4% higher this year than last year.
How does that make sense?
It's crazy, right?
How does that
Yet you'll
make
drive
sense?
downtown
Yeah.
and you'll see boarded up stores and empty stores, and you hear in the news these companies are closing down, but others are opening up. And, over the next few quarters, time will tell, because there are a lot of people just kind of hanging on. We'll see. But as of quarter two, so January, February, March is one.
Yeah.
April, May, June. So this is by the end of June. Well, prices are up.
Oh, April, May, June. Wow. That's insane.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. I don't understand how that works.
So in general,
The math is
except for apartment rentals, condo rentals, things are generally up.
Wow, I'm curious
Which
to see
goes-
what happens.
Way against public sentiment. There's some of you listening to this as you're driving. You're probably swerving on the road and say, what are you talking about? But I'm giving you reality. I'm the messenger here. This is what's really happening. How will it change? Oh, man. I really wish I can tell you which way it's
It's gonna
going.
be exciting to see, though.
Yeah, but it's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
It really is looking pretty good.
That's awesome. Well, Dad, I think we've concluded our. This would be episode 4 in season 2.
Episode 4, season 2.
With a
It's
brief-
in the
with-
history books.
with a brief delay.
Check out our market report that we do every single week. There's a lot of detail in there. It gets a bit more specific. And Danny, you want to take us home here?
So we got market reports that come out every Tuesday on YouTube. You'll find those there. We have this podcast. We're going to be more consistent with this, I hope.
Of course we are.
Yes, so those will be coming out when they come out. You'll get notified if you just follow or subscribe on YouTube, because we have these on YouTube, and then you can find them also on Apple Podcasts if you just search Team Sessa, Google Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere you go to get your podcast, just search Team Sessa and you will find them there. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed, and we will see you soon. Thanks.
If you didn't enjoy it, watch the next one. You might enjoy it more.
Yeah, you're like, go to the cigar one. The cigar one is really, I don't know why a lot of people enjoyed that one.
People like cigars.
Yeah, I guess.
Be safe. We'll see you next time.
Yes, be safe. Bye.